Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. And tonight we're going to be talking to Jason Bartlett, who is on an epic walking event across America. And he's going to be walking over 1,500 miles from Austin, Texas, across to the White House. And his aim is to have a conversation with the president, Donald Trump. And of course we're not sure if that's going to happen, but I think it's going to get some publicity as he gets closer to his mark. And Jason, I have had a chat to Jason. He's an extraordinary young man. He's just had his 33rd birthday, so please do wish him happy birthday. And he's walked already well over 100 miles and well on his way. Now, one of the things that Jason is going to be talking to Trump about, and we'll be talking about this tonight, is the genocide happening in South Africa. And for those of you who are aware, this channel is now recognizing that we've gone beyond extreme persecution in South Africa. There are government departments in South Africa, like unfortunately, some members of the police and some members of the judiciary, who are targeting and singling out white people, which is very, very sad. But that is what's happening in South Africa today. So, without any further ado, let me get Jason on the line so we can start our Real People chat. Here we go. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Scott. How you doing, my friend?
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And I've got your website address below this video, so it'll be up there permanently, so people can just click on that and go straight through to it. I've given a very brief intro to what you're doing to the people watching. What I'd love you to do, because we're going to make this basically a Real People live stream. Before we get into what you're doing and why you're doing it, can you tell me a bit about yourself? Where you grew up in the very early days of, you were a young man when democracy came to South Africa, weren't you? Tell us about how you saw South Africa change pre-1994, post-1994.
Well, I was born in the Freer Hospital in East London, and at the age of 10 years old, I moved up to a place called Vryburg in the northwest, which is, completely different to the East London area. But both of the Eastern Cape and the northwest have unique farmers and very, very good farmers. And unfortunately, I saw the deterioration of South Africa at the age of 33. I've seen the country collapse, and it started with the small things, that you can see the streets are dirty. When I moved up to Vryburg, we actually made a video recording of us entering this town, because I was young and I didn't know much about life. I thought that Vryburg even had a coastline, So, but when I got up there, you realize that it's a very hardy people, and it takes a lot to adapt to living in those Kalahari type situations.
Yeah.
And the country just went from this beautiful little city or little town of Vryburg thriving business wise and people wise, and now you go back and you basically need a 4x4 vehicle to drive between most of the actual the streets of Vryburg. There's hardly any electricity. There's a water crisis, not only because of the drought, but because of engineers of color like myself that are not even allowed to work in the appropriate jobs because of their skin color.
And we're talking about black economic empowerment here, aren't we?
Yes, that's the exact word that we are speaking about. For example, if I've been speaking to a plumber recently, and he told me that he went from a thriving 43-year successful plumbing business to absolutely collapsing because he's not allowed to have government jobs anymore because of the fact that he is white and he doesn't meet the stature, so they give the jobs to plumbers that aren't even qualified plumbers. And That's why our systems, like in Freiburg, it's been all over the news how it's polluted and full of sewage because nobody runs it correctly, and there's a massive water crisis. And they even want to charge the white farmers for storing rainwater and spending their own money building dams. And then the government is trying to charge them, taxing them on the actual storing water on their farms. It's actually pathetic.
That's absolutely crazy. You know what I find extraordinary is that Cyril Ramaphosa, I think he is a snake in the grass, quite honestly. This guy is putting the screws on that boiling, the boiling frog syndrome.
Yeah.
They've now actually tightening up on broad-based black economic empowerment, and the only beneficiaries, the black privilege, is going to the ANC top echelons and their cadres. That's what's actually happening. The black masses are seeing nothing. They're actually being impacted in a very negative way, just like the rest of South Africa, because of the policies that this ANC government are bringing in to enrich themselves. What are your views on that?
It's absolutely pathetic, and what you mentioned there is so true, because all that we're doing, and I'm talking about Americans as well, they're sending over like a $500 million US to aid these people's luxury lifestyles. And what they're doing is just, they're not looking after their own people. I'm more of an advocate for their own people than anybody in the ANC government or in the EFF. For example, we used to rent a farm of approximately 3,000 hectares, which is about 6,000 acres. We used to rent it from two black gentlemen who loved doing business with us. We helped them make money, and we also made money on the farm. And then something was disrupted, and they came up to us and they said, "Sir, we can't do business with you anymore." And we asked, "Why not?" He says, "No, because you're white. They are putting physical pressure on us and threatening to kill our families if we don't stop renting the land to you because of your skin color." So what they're doing is brutal, and they are affecting and damaging their own country. And in the last 25 years, I can call myself a little poster boy, because I've seen it actually collapse. I've seen an entire country go from a beauty to just absolute junk status.
Yeah, and I think one of the complications we have in South Africa is that if you look at the white population, and people who aren't from South Africa need to understand this, you haven't just got a white population, you've actually got communities within that white population, like the Boer folk, like the English who came over at a different time, and they tend to stay even today. I mean, although they communicate well, they don't seem to integrate very well. And if we're looking at the Boer folk, which is mainly people working on the farm in the rural areas, they're the ones who are facing basically a genocide like the Armenians did just over 100 years ago, because they are a very unique community. The other white communities, although they're facing the same genocide, they're basically an extension of the whites in the UK or whites from other part of the world. But the Boer folk are a very unique community. Do you want to talk to us about that?
Yes, indeed. I mean, you take a look what this genocide is entailing. It's not only entailing the physical killings, like the 473 brutal attacks on farms and the Boer Nation in South Africa last year, 2019, as well as the 50 brutal murders in 2019, I mean. And the things that are going on, like, for example, you cannot no longer study in the language Afrikaans because they consider Afrikaans to be a racist language. And just due to the fact that you are Afrikaans, you are considered an absolute scum of the earth, and you are an atrocity to the country. And the thing is that they see it as Boer people, as all white people. That's who they must kill, and that's who they must end. For example, my girlfriend's grandfather was not even from South Africa, yet he was a white person, so he was brutally tortured for 3 hours and strangled with his telephone cord. So they go after these people strictly on their skin color, and the government and Cyril Ramaphosa and the Julius Malema, those cowards of the EFF, are standing up and inciting violence, and they're persecuting the Boer nation due to the fact that they built roads, they established universities, they established school systems, They establish the very things that they are complaining about and destroying. They are actually going after the people that created that and created the jobs that they now hold, and they are complete communists and Marxists.
Yeah. Do you think that the ANC and the EFF are basically one and the same? Do you think it's like an extension of the ANC? Because what Ramaphosa is doing is basically what Julius Malema is talking about. I mean, the only difference is that Malema talks about it. What are your views on that?
They're exactly the same. They're the same snake. They're the same type of evil. In my personal opinion, I study the Bible. I base my life on the Bible, and there is good and there is bad. You're either for God or you're against God. And those people are against God. They are our sworn enemies because they want to be our enemies. It's not me or any of my people that made it racial. They've made it racial when they stand up and say, kill the boer, kill the farmer, and slit the throats of whiteness. That to me is extreme racism, and this is what's led to the genocide of our people in South Africa. They are exactly the same, and the fact that Cyril Ramaphosa comes out and denies it in blatant words, saying that there's no killings of farmers, when we've got everything on record. I've got all the records from 1986 of every unnatural death of the Boer nation on record and at my disposal, because of great people out there that are supporting this cause and supporting the walk to the White House to actually raise awareness and stop this genocide, because we need to be able to sit and talk openly about the facts of what's happening in South Africa. There is a genocide against our people. It's not called ethnic cleansing. The word is genocide. They are killing us by every day, and it needs to stop, because this is setting the framework for the United States of America, and the Marxist media of the United States is hiding it just the same way as they will hide it when it starts here in the United States.
Right, I totally agree with you, and we'll get directly to the to your walk and its goals and all that sort of stuff in a second. I do want to address, before we do, something that you've raised, which I think is so extremely important, and that is that there seems to be in the judicial system in South Africa a chasm when it comes to color in the way that people are treated. And I'm hoping in the next week or two to be talking to Vicky Momberg. We're actually in email contact now. And she is actually suing the government for millions of rand for what the judicial system put her through. Now, if you look at how the South African Human Rights Commission have responded to Julius Malema's clearly hate-filled speeches to his supporters. I mean, what he says, as you say, is just basically inciting a genocide. And then you look at this crazy situation with even Etzebeth, where, you know, the media are making such a big thing about something that there's absolutely no proof it happened, what happened, why it happened, how it happened. Even the media in South Africa are party to this genocide. It's like, you know, they're all in there just pecking away at a carcass. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's absolutely shocking what they do. I mean, for example, there was a baby of 2 years old that was raped brutally near near Cape Town, and they report on nothing near that raping. They report about racial remarks about rugby players and people, what they're doing at the H&M. So they just blatantly sweep it under the rug. They're denying it, and that's why they're working side by side with these Marxist media here in America. And the things that they're trying to incite on our people, it's the Human Rights Foundation really needs to up their game and start calling themselves inhumane, because these inhumane attacks are not normal. They are brutal. I mean, even Mr. Stanson from Genocide Watch said he's never seen such brutal attacks on people at all. And there's no proof of, for example, even Etzebeth, of him being racial and racial words. What about the people that are being tortured for hours on end and raped just because of their color? What about them?
Yeah, well, look, I've got to say, when it comes to Etzebeth, I think that's another huge injustice. I mean, I've seen so many reports where he is totally colorblind. You know, he's a sort of fellow who, yeah, if someone gives him a hard time, he might respond, which anyone will do. But, you know, the thing that really pisses me off about the mainstream media in South Africa when it comes to Vicky Momberg is they've attached a new word in front of her name, which is like sticking. And that word is racist Vicky Momberg. And I find that absolutely despicable, and I hope that once she's sued successfully the government of South Africa over what she went through, she'll go after the media and she'll sue every single one of them who've actually put that term in front of her name, because clearly at that stage she was under extreme duress. I think if I was in that position, I would be using some nasty words as well, because you do that when you're under duress. It's not because you're a racist, it's because you are just freaking out. And I think this is where the mainstream media in South Africa have got so much to answer for. And
Yeah.
I'm hoping that what you're doing, and we'll get onto that now, I'm hoping that what you're doing to try and publicize what's going on in South Africa will get a lot more coverage by the mainstream media. Now, let's get back to what you're doing in America. You tell me when you landed in Austin, Texas, and what actually inspired you to do this.
Okay, so I actually live just north of Dallas now, and I was, I've been wondering, my family's been attacked. I mean, from held at gunpoint, they've been put in the boot of a car for several hours and beaten, and then they moved to Australia. My cousin was shot through the back of the head and strangled with nylon and burnt with a grill, and then they beat up his 8-year-old and 10-year-old daughter with a crowbar. And I just said to myself, for 25 years, everybody's been telling me someone's going to stand up and say something. And then I got on my knees and I said, Lord, there's nobody here saying anything. And I'm just a small, mediocre human being. And I just said to the Lord, if you are willing to use me, use me. And he's opened up the doors and he's blessed me. And I said to him, well, I dedicate my life and I give it to you. I humble myself before you, Lord Jesus, and send me and tell me what to do. And I decided that I have to walk from Austin, Texas to the White House to raise awareness and to bring an end to this genocide so we can help America as well as heal South Africa.
Right. Now, you've been walking for several days now, and I think you walked just over 100 miles, so you're sort of got like 1,400 plus miles still to go. Tell us where you are right now in Texas.
So I've actually walked 139 miles from the Texas State Capitol building, where Antifa actually tried to come and take me on, but they were only threats. They never showed up, but they have promised to come through the other big towns. And I've walked to a little town called Centerville, and it's a 139 miles little hike or track, I like to call it.
Right.
I've got the blisters to show for it and the joints that are aching and paining, but it's got nothing on the torture that my people are going through. So I do this for each and every black Christian in South Africa, white Christian in South Africa, and I do it for the Boer Nation, because the Boer Nation is the cornerstone of feeding the entire Africa, including the famine-stricken Zimbabwe. The murders can't go on. It needs to stop. We can live in unity. However, we do need to get rid of certain tyrants in the governments that are inciting violence on our specific Boer Nation.
Right. Now, you mentioned Antifa coming after you. You know that Antifa is funded by George Soros.
Yes, I do. I also know he's got a lot of non-profits in South Africa, and I also know that he doesn't help anything in Zimbabwe. There's no non-profits helping them raise money and stop the famine there as well. So I'm a bigger advocate for Africa than anybody else at the moment, I believe.
Yeah. Now, there are two mainstream media that I can name and shame right now who are funded largely by George Soros and his organizations. The Mail and Guardian in South Africa, and also the Daily Maverick. They are largely funded by George Soros, just so people know that. That's how he is getting his message into South Africa. Now, okay, let's talk about you and your mission. You've got 1,400 miles still to go. And have you had any contact at this stage with the White House or anyone within the White House to try and enable your discussion with the president?
I do actually have an entire team that is supporting me and working behind me, and they've gathered together, and we have started making contact. We do have our contacts in there, and we do it very respectably, because it's not like I'm just walking up there, entitled human being from Africa, saying, "Hey, we deserve asylum." We are actually real asylum seekers. We are refugees because our people are being persecuted. There is a bill has actually been put in place to prevent the genocide in South Africa, as well as if we're on level 6, the genocide's on level 6 in South Africa. Why do we have to wait until it's on level 10 and everybody's starting to be mass murdered? Why do we have to wait? So that's why I dedicated myself to push myself to the absolute brinks of my limits to get to the White House as quick as possible to speak to President Donald Trump, because I believe that he's a bold Christian, and I believe that he's a bold president willing to actually sit down with me and say, let's discuss how we can fix this, whether we relax the visa statuses of South Africans, of the Boer nation, as well as bring in the real refugees. And for the South African Boer people that want to stay and farm in South Africa, they should be entitled to stay because they own that land, they have the title deeds, they've bought that land, and they've nurtured that land, and they love that land, and they feed the nation, and they are entitled to an immediate protection plan.
Right. And you're aware that the ANC government, through Ace Magashule, have basically thrown South Africa's weight behind Iran in this conflict, or this brewing conflict between Iran and the United States of America. And I think a huge message that you need to give to Trump, or people in the White House that you might speak to, is that the white population are totally behind the USA, and this ANC government is feral. I think that's a huge message that needs to get out there.
No, most certainly. That is one of the messages I am carrying with, because that's why a lot of people have been asking me, why don't I walk with the South African flag? The South African flag represents zero of my morals or anything got to standing with me. They incite violence against my people. They do not want to unify with us. They want us dead. And that's why I carry the United States flag, because the Old Glory, I fly proudly, and I look up to the fact that it represents freedom. It doesn't represent anarchy and communism like the South African flag.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, I have the old South African flag on the wall next to me here, the one that's now banned in South Africa. And I find it extraordinary that that flag, which really represented a huge period of growth within South Africa that benefited everybody regardless of skin color, is now seen as hate speech. I mean, it just shows how incredibly conflicted this ANC government is. It is a real snake in the grass. So, you took a break today, didn't you?
Yes, I took a break. As I like to say, my body is a temple of God, and I have pushed it. I did 33 miles for my 33rd birthday yesterday, just as a token of appreciation to all the support that I've been receiving from Americans and my fellow South African brothers and sisters in Christ. So I decided today I will take a little bit of a break, and I actually feel very revitalized. And tomorrow when I hit the road again, I will have a little hop in my step, and just knowing that the joy of Christ is in me. And I'm starting to realize that I can actually speak on behalf of a lot of South Africans, due to the fact that there is zero hope. And that's why they're starting to realize that the only hope that they have is in the Lord Jesus Christ, and He alone can use Donald Trump to actually heal our land and unite together, so that the South Africans that come over here will be known as the Buffalo Boer, who can actually feed the great nation of America and stand against terrorism, not like the ANC who supports terrorism. Our people will be completely against that terroristic acts of this world.
Right. Now, you had a birthday yesterday.
Yes, 33 years old.
There you go. We all get old. I'm an old fart, as you know. They call me the old fart in this channel. Now, what did you do on your birthday? Did you have people who came around? Did you have a cake? I mean, what actually happened?
Well, no, I was treated very well. I had some good chili bites that I made myself, but my support vehicle brought them over to me with a lot of love and handed them to me, and handed me a nice full meal, because I walked for approximately 12 hours yesterday for my birthday. And I took the back roads, and I stopped at every farmer and little farmhouse that I could find, and I said hello to them. I had people stopping and saying prayers with me, which was absolutely incredible. About 10 people stopped and said a little prayer with me, that they saw me on my @Buffalo Bartlett on Twitter, and they reached out to me. And even though Facebook has taken me down 6 times in the last month and a half.
6 times?
6 times, yeah. On my birthday, I woke up and I realized, wow, I've been taken down for the 6th time. So obviously they support the genocide in South Africa, the typical Facebook they are. But it's all right. We will establish more pages, and we don't give up, because just like the Buffalo, there's no mock charge. We put our heads forward and we go ahead full steam.
Okay, now talking about Facebook, you said you've been taken down 6 times. Why did they take you down? Is it because of what you posted, or is it because of a photo you put up, or what was their reason?
So all that I had on Facebook was stop the killing of the farmers and the Boer in South Africa. And then I posted about 6 interviews that I've had with One American News, with the Chris Salcedo, with Alex Jones at InfoWars, as well as Billy Outlaw Radio, as well as a live feed from the Black Rebel. It's a black gentleman from California that supports us, and Resist Marxism, Kyle Chapman. And many of these videos were on there, and as well as Matt Locke, the Voice of America. All I did is I didn't make any comments, no ugly comments at all, because I don't believe in racial slur. I'm a loving person, I'm a God-fearing person. And they say to me that this is spam, and it goes against the policies of Facebook, and they took me down.
How can it be spam when you're talking about your perspective on an issue? That is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolutely nonsense. It just shows you that the devil is starting to get scared, and they're worried because someone has actually finally stood up with the power of God and said, "Hey, here's me, here's my Bible, here's the word of the Lord. We are against this whole LGBTQ movement. We're against the kids learning about boys getting periods when they're 8 years old or 6 years old. We're against everything that the devil is trying to force down our throats." And sometimes you got to stand up and say, "Hey, my morals are more important than a job that I hold. Morals are more important than the position I hold." So if I had to get a job that says that you're not allowed to say certain things, I would happily turn that job down, because my morals and when I have to answer before God is way more important than answering before any people like Facebook or anything like that.
Right. Now, earlier in this discussion, you mentioned that you're living in Texas. Have you actually migrated out of South Africa?
Well, due to the fact that it's so difficult to immigrate to to America if you don't have lump sums of money, and just due to the fact that I've been held at gunpoint twice, which was with 2 attempted hijackings. Someone tried to kill me in Cape Town near Market Toyota in Kulenburg. They tried to stab me and rip my jacket and called me a white bastard. And I went to the police, and they just said, "This is not a big enough crime to report. You're not allowed to report it." And stuff like that, and my family that's been attacked and harassed, and the fact that my parents and myself have to live in a house with 30 locks on it and 10 fences. I actually seeked asylum in the United States because I'm petrified for my life. I can't raise a family there. I don't want, and the problem is people think it's normal in South Africa to live behind 10-foot fences and electrified fences with vicious dogs. It's not the norm, and I refuse to live like that, and that's why I decided to seek asylum proudly. I have to swallow my pride and say, hey, there is a crisis in South Africa, there's a genocide in South Africa, and we need to start talking about it, and I'm going to stand up for my people.
Yeah. Now, I take it your girlfriend's also seeking asylum in America too, is she?
Yes, she's along with me, and she is seeking asylum as well, just due to the fact that the brutality on women. Every 3 minutes a woman is raped in that country. Her grandfather was brutally tortured, and he died of his wounds, and police go and say that he died of natural causes, as well as the police are actually targeting young women, pulling them over, raping them and beating them, and that's the police, not even the criminals.
Well, you've heard of slow puncture, haven't you?
Yes.
Slow puncture, for those of you who are watching who don't know what it is, it's where the police in South Africa apprehend an innocent white man. He might be 60 years old, he might be 16 years old, and they take him to a police station, they put him in a cell, and rather like the barbarian days of the the Romans, where you had these fights with the lions against a Christian or something like that. What they then do is they bring 20 hardened black criminals and they put them in the same cell as the white man, and these police watch while this white man is raped by every single black person in there. And of course they land up with AIDS. That's called slow puncture, and it's happening in South Africa right now. That gives you an idea of why I'm calling this a genocide in South Africa, because what the police are doing in some parts is absolutely shocking. And Advocate Willie Jordan, who I'm in constant contact with, he actually sent me an email saying that he represented one of those young white men who went through what is called slow puncture, and he took it to the court system. I mean, it is absolutely disgraceful. Okay, we're kind of off the track here a bit, but I think it's important that people understand what is going on in South Africa with these so-called government departments. Okay, now getting back to you, you're now basically a refugee in America. What is your status? Have they actually started assessing your asylum case at this stage?
Yes, I can't legally get into too much of that information just because it is disclosed. However, I have sought asylum, and I'm quite far in the process, and I have court dates set and so forth. But just the fact that the government is inciting such violence, and the third biggest political party is standing up and saying death to white people, and nothing's been said. It's a very, very clear and open and clear-cut asylum case. You can see that we are the real asylum seekers, and we are asking, we're not entitled to anything, but we are asking the United States to relax the visa requirements for South African Boer people, as well as the white people of South Africa. And we are also asking President Donald Trump to pass a bill to expedite the actual asylum seekers from South Africa, because we are in dire need of these times, because we've been stripped of our culture, our language has been taken away, we have been dehumanized, and we have been physically raped, we are being emotionally raped and spiritually raped, and they're coming after us on a daily basis, and the growth of this hatred is starting to fester like a cancer in South Africa, and it gets bigger and bigger every day. And that's why we don't come to America entitled. We come here supporting the Constitution, supporting the very, very foundation of Christianity that founded the beautiful United States of America.
Fantastic. Now, tell me about the process you went through from the time you got on a plane out of South Africa and flew over to America, because there are probably people who are watching here who would love to do what you did. I mean, when you sought asylum, tell us step by step, what did you do?
So I've actually been coming to the United States since 2006. I've been doing it all legally.
Yeah.
I've come in with visas, all different types of visas for different types of jobs. I've farmed for the country. I've worked in the country. I've worked on cruise ships due to the fact that I didn't want to go home to South Africa and I couldn't get a job in my field as a pilot. I was rejected because of my color. And I came over to the United States, and by myself I actually sought asylum. And then I started to Google around, even though Google hides a lot of stuff from South Africa. I found a very good lawyer, and I reached out to the Presti law firm, and I said to them that we are seeking asylum, and this is the basis of the asylum. And when we told them what we've been through, their jaws dropped, and they just said, we would be honored to help you, and we'd be honored to help any people that want to come and secret asylum status. We do everything legally, and I only support the legal way, coming through the ports of entry, entering the country and seeking asylum, because we are the real refugees that are coming and not going to turn on this country, but support this country to the core and to the bone.
Now, you've just raised a very critical point about when you seek asylum. My understanding is that, let's say I'm coming from South Africa and I'm landing in JFK airport and I'm going through customs and I'm talking to a customs officer before I actually get entry into the US. Am I correct in saying at that point when they say to you, because they ask you why you're coming to America, that's basically, I've been to America several times, and they always say, why are you coming to America? And that's a customs officer, and that's when you say, I'm seeking asylum. Am I correct in saying that?
That is correct. However, I did not do that due to the fact that I wasn't intending to seek asylum, but I went back to go visit my family, and I'm very grateful that I did, because it was the last time I got to see my beautiful sister. And I came back to America, and I entered on a B2 visa because I was going to have a nice little vacation and a road trip. And then my dad informed me, who's a pastor until this day, and just, he's one of the people that nurtured my faith and nurtured me and led me towards the Lord. And he explained to me that two things that happened. There was a gentleman in our church who was brutally attacked on his farm and bitten. They bit him all over. They almost bit some of his fingers off, and he shot one of the attackers, and he was arrested later when the police arrived to the farm.
Crazy.
Exactly. And not the people that attempted to rape his wife and murder him. He was arrested for defending himself physically in his house after they started biting him. And then a lovely lady who I'm very, very close friends with, just on the border of Botswana, near where we used to farm, was shot through the head in a rocking chair, and they beat up the husband, kidnapped him, and then drove away with the stolen vehicle, and then threw him other side the border in Botswana, and they're still free until today, and the police don't bother looking for them. And that's just when I went on my knees and I said, Abba, Father, I need help. Please help me. I'm going to seek asylum. I cannot return, not because I'm a coward. It's because I'm petrified for my life. And if I have a family in the future, how can I do that and raise a family knowing that they have to live in such brutal circumstances and in such torture?
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. Just for the record, we've got about 150 people watching right now. Now, getting back to publicizing what you're doing, your walk, the reason you're doing it, what has been the response when you try to communicate with the media about what you're doing? Have you had a good response? Have they ignored you? How have they reacted to what you're doing in America?
At the moment, I'm struggling to keep up with the amount of interviews I actually am having, because the presidency and the administration that is in office at the moment with President Donald Trump has really lifted the veil off the Marxist media and the Marxist Democratic Party. And they've started to notice that what's happening in South Africa is hidden by the press here in America, due to the fact that South Africa is setting the framework for America. And they're trying to deny that it's happening, and the rape nation of South Africa, which they're still trying to portray as a rainbow nation under these tyrants, is coming. I don't even have to reach out to these newsletters anymore. They are literally reaching out to me. They're going to be walking alongside me, showing the support. And just due to the fact that the real and true news want the truth to come out. They want the world to see what's busy on the outcome for America, because the same way they started tearing down the statues of the founders of South Africa, and is taking out the languages of Afrikaans and changing the art and trying to change the history, like Cyril Ramaphosa stood up on a godly day of the Boer nation and tries to manipulate history and change the history to their own history, where he supports the blatant killings of people and worships people like Dingaan, who was a mass murderer, and calls him His Majesty and all that. They're trying the very same thing in America as well. The universities are changing art, they're changing and pushing things down the culture, and they're trying to demasculate men, as well as they're coming with this Marxist agenda towards the people. And this communism is not going to be welcomed in America, and we need to all stand firm on our ground and our faith.
I find it quite extraordinary, the road that the Democrat Party or the Democrats are going in America, because they, as you say, they're just like communists now. They're not Americans at all. And the big problem that's happening in America is that the school system or the education system is actually promoting that kind of lifestyle. It is quite extraordinary. Have you found that?
Yes, it's horrific. I walked past a little school in Texas the day before yesterday when I was doing a 37-mile walk, and I was, by 10, 11-year-olds, because I'm carrying a United States flag and I'm wearing a Donald Trump Keep America Great hat. They started to use the F word and swear at me and show me middle fingers, and that is scary that's become the foundation of America. And since I've been coming here since 2006, I've unfortunately seen a massive deterioration in America as well. And that's not everybody. There's still a lot of people that drove past me saluting the flag,
Yeah.
The older people and some younger people of my age, because they're starting to realize that we need to act quickly because the media is pushing this on our children, and it's in their pockets. Everybody's got a cell phone, and if everything's so censored. Look, the Facebook is taking me down. When you're at the hotel that I'm staying in now, when you hear and you put the TV on, automatically, no matter what channel you leave it on, it pops up on CNN. So they completely, it's a Marxist media that's apparent, and the devil is loose as well. And we need to start saying this is not going to fly with us, and it's not, your hidden agenda is going to be revealed.
You know what I find so ironic is that CNN's logo or motto is that real news, and they're the most fake news you can ever come across.
Yes.
Now, talking about your support people that are with you, do you have a number of people who actually follow you in a car, or how does this work? I mean, what sort of support have you got?
Well, first and foremost, I rely on the protection of the Lord Jesus Christ and His promise to me. I also have a support vehicle that is, it's actually got, I think you saw my cat in the back, which we call Klaus, which means the people's victory. And it's a nice little kitten. And I've got my animals with me. I've got a cooler box with me. I've got my chili bites with me that I made myself. And I've got the crate that's behind me over here is full of my cookware, so I can make myself protein shakes. But I do have a support vehicle that has got people in it and some other people protecting me at all times, because I have been threatened countless times by these leftist Marxists.
Right. Okay. Now, if people during your journey, as you get closer to Washington, want to walk with you in solidarity, I mean, is there a way they can contact you and actually be part of your journey?
Yes, most certainly. The best way, as I'm pretty overwhelmed with text messages and emails, but the emails are the best way to do it. The website that you see at the back, www.boerextinction.org, is the best way to either donate money, go straight to my bank account, or you can send me a message and it comes to my personal email. And I do respond. It might not be the same day, but it actually normally is, as much as I can. It's difficult to walk and talk as well as type, but I do respond. A lot of people have been offering me accommodation and protection. For example, in Shreveport, there's a gentleman coming to walk with me on Saturday again. They're more than welcome. They just need to know that I'll walk for the glory of God, and they stand by me, and I will be a great chat. I'm a talkative person. I'm a joyful person. My heart bubbles, and I'll tell them all about the Lord and Savior. And I look forward for them to come and walking with me, because I do believe that many thousands of Americans will actually be standing with me at the finish line when I'm in my suit and tie and Keep America Great hat again.
Right. Okay. So let's say hypothetically that you get to the White House, and there's a window of opportunity to sit down with Donald Trump. And I think that Donald Trump is a remarkable man. I know he's got a huge ego, but I think he's a very incredibly smart man. He really has a good finger on what's happening in the world. So you're sitting down with Donald Trump in the Oval Office, and obviously you'll want a photo taken, a selfie taken with him. But what would you talk to him about? What? Because you need to be very clear in your head what you're going to be discussing with Donald Trump. So tell us what you would be talking to Trump about.
Well, I've got two things that are set. First of all, Donald Trump is a remarkable man. He's also a businessman. Hence, he's doing so well with the economy in America. It's absolutely booming. Everywhere you go past, there's truckloads of stuff driving past you all the time. People are thriving and happy at the moment like that. And he's a businessman. I do have an entire business plan drawn out for him for the farmers that will come over to America, as well as for the people who are not farmers. I've got an entire business plan established for them too, because that's the gentleman that that's what Trump would appreciate. Is he would know that this is X and Y, and how it will actually benefit our country and how it will grow our country, create jobs for South Africans, as well as create thousands and countless jobs for Americans, as well as talk about an immediate action plan to put sanctions on the ANC government, as well as to protect the farmers in South Africa so that they can help Africa be fed. Because if the farmers all leave South Africa or get killed in South Africa, Americans need to know that there's going to be a massive immigration process that people are going to be coming from Africa because they're starving. And where do you think they're going to go? They're going to go to the big, beautiful United States of America, and they're going to try change our religion over here. They're going to try change our constitution and all these amendments, and they're going to change our freedom of speech. And we're going to stand against that. And I'm going to speak to President Donald Trump respectfully. I respect him tremendously. I don't go there entitled. I come as an ally, and I come with several million people as his allies, and we're going to work on a business plan, and I will be representing this business plan on behalf of many a South African.
Okay, now there's something I want to share with you, and that I've been working on this Loving Life channel for well over a year now, and I get a lot of input from people. And there are a lot of countries around the world today that are finding that their small rural communities are actually disappearing, because what's happening is that the children say, hey, we don't want to stick around here, we want to go to the city. So they all move off the city, and the family moves off the city, and there's this complete situation that's happening as far wide as Australia, as in Greece, in Italy, the United States of America, where rural communities are literally breaking down because families are leaving. And what countries are now doing is they're looking for families who will come and basically rejuvenate these little communities that are dying. I think that in America there's some huge farming areas where they're actually facing exactly the same problem. And if you could Google that and have a look at that and put that to Trump, I think that this is a huge way of actually saying, hey, you're bringing in people who are compatible with the American community, because the Boers and the whites, they basically have Christian values. They're not going to go out there and cause trouble, and they could help rejuvenate these little towns which are dying in America. What do you think about that?
Yes, that's you barking down the right alley, definitely, because that is part of my business plan. I've walked through some physical little towns as well that could be completely rejuvenated, and we don't want anything for free. We will work for this land, and we will work this land as well, and we will create jobs for ourselves and for countless Americans, and we will teach the youngsters to farm. As well as the new farmers, we will invite them in. That's why I've got an entire business plan to structure for farmers to come and get on their feet, generate and give back to the communities as well. And that's part of my system that we will be implementing too. These commune farms that we will be starting are actual communities that will give back to the physical community, rejuvenate these towns, and only add to the backbone and to support this United States of America.
Right. Now, earlier you mentioned to me, and we had a chat before we had this live stream, you mentioned to me that you're hoping to talk to Fox News in America. If you're able to, I know that Donald Trump watches Tucker Carlson. So I would suggest, if you're able to, try and get an interview with Tucker Carlson, because if you do, Trump will see that. There's a very high chance of that. So that's just a consideration. Have you, with your discussion with Fox News at this stage, have they sort of said where, when, how?
We are still busy with that at the moment. We have established and made contact with them. We've also established with Tucker Carlson himself as communication with him, as well as One American News, as well as Hannity, the Hannity Show. These people support us, and they support our people.
Right.
Ernest Roots, who wrote the book Kill the Boer, he was also already been on Fox News, so they're very, very aware of what I'm doing, and they are supportive of me. Of course, that the Iran system and problem that had occurred, and the wonderful Trump, the way he handled it was absolutely terrific, and I think that's just gaining so much support from the Americans, and they're going from the Democratic Party over to the Republican Party just due to the fact of how excellently he handled that situation and that crisis within a week. And these people are aware of me, and they know that I will be coming, and they support me. For example, Alex Jones will be coming to join me from InfoWars, and I will also be on the Fox News channel soon. I don't know how the exact times yet, but we are in the process of that. As they do know, I do need to do some physical walking as well. But I've already established that I have started this walk, and I'm not going to be stopping until we are heard, until there's an immediate action plan created for our people and to stop the genocide in South Africa.
Okay, now you mentioned Alex Jones. I mean, he is such a hugely significant character in the alternative media today. Is he going to be actually joining you when you arrive in Washington, D.C., or is he just going to be talking to you? Is he going to be walking along the road with you? Because, I mean, that would be perfect.
Yes, he's actually going to... we haven't established an exact date yet that I can release, but he will be joining me for a nice long hour interview where he will actually be joining me on the road, which is awesome. I think then we'll put a lot of people to the test and see how much they can walk. And then also he's actually let me know that he will be in Virginia at the time towards when I get there, so it might be just perfect timing. But I can't give away too much.
I understand.
Just know that the Lord Jesus Christ he's busy talking, and he's busy working through a lot of people that are working around me, and they do it with so much joy. There's a gentleman named Luke Twombly that has just dedicated so many hours of his life to the South African people already since he's met me, and I just take my hat off to the Presty law firm as well as Luke Twombly for helping me in such abundance.
Fantastic. Now, I'm just going to address the side channel for a moment. We're approaching 200 people watching at the moment. For my moderators, are there any questions that people would like to or have posted that I can put to Jason? And Jarko has just said Jason must go on Joe Rogan's show as well. Do you know Joe Rogan?
Yes, I'm familiar. We will be reaching out to them. I've only got a certain amount of time, but I have been reaching out to them. Believe you me, I've got the best interests of South Africans, and I am here, and I've dedicated everything and every breath and every voice that I can speak to. I will work tirelessly and endlessly, just like a Boer, and I will work hard, and I just grind it out, just like the buffalo. I have no mock charge. I'm going forward.
Fantastic. Now, I know there was a question earlier where someone asked, do you have a YouTube channel?
It is actually, at this moment as we speak, it is busy being created, and we're just getting some permission from I've actually done so I don't break any copyright laws, so that I can actually put those interviews on my YouTube channel. They are censoring me incredibly. Twitter's censoring me. Facebook censoring me, as well as shadow banning me and really trying to block me. My following on Twitter on @BuffaloBartlett has really slowed down due to the fact it's very, very suspicious what they do.
Yeah.
But it just shows they are very scared of the truth being told, but we won't stop.
Well, I have to share a story with you. This channel has been now going for close to 2 years. And in May last year, just before the election in South Africa, my channel was targeted by, obviously, members of the ANC because of the things that I was saying. And I got, you know how the strike system works with YouTube. You get 3 strikes, community strikes, and they take your channel down. You get 3 copyright strikes, they take your channel down. And literally every single video I'd put up, and I'd put up thousands, was targeted, and YouTube were getting really pissed off. I had 2 community strikes, and I was expecting my channel to be taken down. And I got up, and every morning I'd get up and I'd say, oh my God, is my channel taken down, or is it still up there? And I got up that morning and there was a third strike, which means that my channel's taken down. And the most extraordinary thing is that I read the email that accompanied the strike, and they said that your channel is too important, we are not going to take it down. This was YouTube saying that. And
Wow.
so I don't know what's happening in the background, but I have had so many community strikes on this channel because the little lefties at YouTube get upset. But there's someone within YouTube who's saying that the material that's on this channel has got to be protected, because I don't talk racist stuff. I just give the real news. I don't beat around the bush. I call a spade a spade. And I think that there's someone within YouTube who's recognized that, and they're basically protecting the channel. I don't know how long they'll protect it for, but it's been going for 2 years now, and I've put a lot of controversial stuff up here, but it's always been straight down the line as things are. So, there are good people within YouTube, but most of them are just screaming lefties. Okay, so I've got another question for you here from Jarko, and I think someone else has actually asked this, but he said, Jason, could you please inform Mr. Trump that the killings are not only on farms and small holdings, but are also occurring in cities and suburbs?
Most certainly, I definitely will do that. I've lost some friends that have been attacked in the cities. I'm very aware of that. The reason that I'm so pinnacle on the farmers is due to the fact that it affects my direct family, that it affects my church community, and I stand up for my farmers. But I'm standing up for each and every one of you. It does not go unnoticed. I know who you guys are. I know what your core values are, and I stand up for the people in the cities, in the towns. I stand up for the blacks, the whites that serve the Lord Jesus Christ, and I've got every good intention to stand up for every single one of you. So thank you for that question. That is the truth, and I will tell the truth as it is.
Right. Now, Michelle's just said that someone's having problems getting to your website. I'm just going to put that back in there again. Okay, Michelle, if you can just ask that person, or Mandy, if you can just see if click on that link, because I actually had it spelt wrong, but I fixed it now, so it should be correct. Davi says, Jaco, ekskuus, net nou baie gereen wêreld, nou not hier, baie dankbaar, alles is af. Elektrisiteit, MTN Touring, hulle het nou alles opgekak. just
really shows the beauty of South Africans, how they can still see the humor in the madness. But it's just an absolute blessing. I was speaking to my parents earlier today, and they say it's raining on the farms in that area, and I worship the Lord for that, and I thank Him, because He knows that we don't have any hope. But I think just a little bit of unity that's been caused in the last few days is, people worshiping the Lord and asking the Abba Father for direction and for rain. I think He's just blessing our people, and I think this is going to be a great year for our Christian people in South Africa.
Well, I have to share with you, Davi is an extraordinary man. He's been a friend of this channel for a long time, and he's actually one of just a handful of what we call heroes on this channel. And last year, for example, being a farmer, he donated tons of maize to drives that we had to try and help impoverished white people in these squatter camps, and he played a huge role in that. So he's a fantastic fellow.
Thank you for your service, and I really appreciate that, looking after your fellow people, even though many of those other people want to come and kill you and hate you for who you are, and feeding the nation. That's what I also ask, if you guys can afford it, whether it's $10 or $1,000 or $20,000, go onto my website and donate, and give me the funds to do this walk, as well as to complete this business plan that I can present in front of President Donald Trump. So every donation counts. You are sowing into faithful ground. I have prepared my fields for rain, and the rain is coming, and it's already started, and soon it will pour.
Okay, now it's interesting that when you started your walk, that that it started to rain in these drought-affected areas. I mean, the timing was quite coincidental, but it's interesting. Now, talking about money, how are you funding this walk? I mean, how are you actually, is this your own money you're using to do this at this stage, or what's the situation?
So I've put nearly everything I have into this, and what I've done is I started a GoFundMe account, and I am depending on Americans and South Africans to donate to my cause, because I do this for them. I put my body physically on the line for them, and I do it faithfully. But I worked until the 31st of January. I worked 8 hours a day, and I walked 8 hours a day training for 2 months. And not 31st of January, 31st of December, I worked and I paid off my January rent and my January bills, and I had literally, I think it was $11 left in my bank account. And I said, Lord God, this is now your journey. I put all my faith in you, and we've raised $4,700 already, and I'm grateful for that, because it costs about $200 a day minimum for either fuel or hotels, and I eat like a buffalo because you eat walks every day. You eat quite a lot. It's like constant eating, even though you don't feel hungry, you eat. So I do rely on the people of South Africa and America to donate as much funds as they can, whatever's felt on your heart. I can just tell you honestly, from the bottom of my heart, you're sowing into good ground, and everything is tangible, everything is real. The blisters are real, the pain is real, the food that I eat is real, and my determination is real, and my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ is real, and my relationship with him is unfathomable. Nobody can touch it, nobody can break it. And I serve God, Almighty God, and I'm going forward.
Right. Now I've got another question for you here. KZ says, Jason, what will you do if you get to the White House and President Trump is not interested in meeting with you?
Well, I have a lot of faith that he will meet with me, because he's a respectable human being, and by the time that we get there, we would have established a professional meeting with him and his team. If he's not there or not interested in helping me, which I very, very highly doubt, because he's a good human being, and he's also sworn to protect America, and we are people who want to protect America and the values. I will do something else. We will have to see when we get there, and how my feet and how fit I am, and we'll see what we have to do. If I have to walk to the moon, I will walk to the moon, but I will do what I have to do.
Right. Now, Davy has said, and of course Davy is the farmer, he actually lives at Bultfontein in the Free State.
Awesome, I know Bultfontein, wonderful. I used to work in the game capturing in Bloemfontein. I've worked in the Bultfontein area. I absolutely love it, near Hatzoffville and everything, so it's great.
Okay, well, he says, Sir, I'd just like to thank Jason for what he is doing to raise awareness of all the farm murders. Nothing has stopped. It is just not reported. On New Year's Day, a friend of mine was killed in Bothaville. And, yeah, I mean, it's just shocking how the media just don't report on this stuff. But if Vicky Momberg puts a little foot out of line, it's like world news. It's just crazy. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, just with Vicky Momberg, we're going to be following that story very closely on this channel in 2020, because, as I said earlier, she is suing the government and the National Prosecuting Authority and various judicial departments for millions of rand, and I have absolutely no doubt she's going to win. And she does, to me, represent the great injustice that's happening in South Africa. Now, getting back to you and getting back to your walk, what is your biggest challenge in this walk? I mean, you must get blisters. You must go through physical pain. What are the challenges that you have?
The adversities and the challenges. It goes beyond the actual feeling of your feet. Eventually, your feet get so painful and your hips start to seize. If you take like a 5-minute break, I know I'm only 33, but if you're walking 30 to 40 miles every day, believe you me, when you stop, you start getting cold, you start getting cold shivers.
Right.
But what I do is, what I tend to do is I actually put Afrikaans music in my ears, and I say to myself, you know what, this is the language that they're trying to kill. These are the people that they are trying to kill and dehumanize. And what I do is I start running, and I run for like a kilometer or two. or maybe like a mile or two. And I pushed past. I know that, for example, Garvey, my heartfelt condolences to you and your friend's family that were murdered on New Year's Day, which is horrific. My real heartfelt condolences. I run and I just push past those barriers. If there's blood blisters on my feet, I push past them because I know my people are suffering a persecution and there's nobody speaking for them. So if God is going to be using me to become a voice for South Africa, I will happily humble myself and take it as an honor to be persecuted for the name of Christ, and I will push through the pain. When you stop it in the evening, it feels like when I jump into bed, my legs get stuck like this, so your knees are like while I'm not walking, and you do start seizing up, but I just drink myself a protein shake and I rub my legs with the equivalent to DPT in the United States, and they feel like they're on fire. I sit in the bath with Epsom salt, and I just say a prayer because I know what I'm doing is I actually have started to realize that people are really, really appreciating it because there's no hope for our people except in the Word of God, and that's what I'm doing this for. So I push past those barriers knowing that I don't do it for nothing. I do it for the very people that I love.
Yeah. Now Rias says, Jason, you're an amazing example of faith. And I totally endorse that. We've also got Boerelition here, and I think is that Isaac? Is that Isaac van Zyl? He's the guy who runs Boerelition. He's often a regular here on our live streams. Okay, guys, are there any other questions you'd like to ask Jason? Now's a really good time to do so.
I was asked one question. Somebody asked me, why did I use the buffalo?
Oh, yeah. Tell us.
The reason I use the buffalo is because the buffalo is part of the Big Five. Just as the white farmer and the Boer in South Africa is also part of the Big Five. Without the Boer, South Africa and Africa does not have the Big Five. And even though the buffalo is one of the most hunted creatures in Africa, it is also a creature that is hardy, it is tough, and it can live in extreme conditions like the Afrikaner and like the Boer nation. And you get a buffalo, which I regard myself at the moment as a Duggar boy, which is out of the pack and he's out in the middle of the wilderness and alone. But when those buffalo get together and they start to migrate and they start to move and they start to standing together, they are absolutely majestic, and nothing can stop them. And that's why I chose the buffalo and called it Buffalo Boer, because that's what we are. We are buffalo, we are the Boer, and we won't be stopped. We will stand up because we are also one nation under God, and that's why I chose the magnificent buffalo.
Fantastic. Now, Janir has asked, do you think Trump will actually meet with you?
Yes, I do believe he will meet with me, because Trump is a businessman, and he's also against people persecuting Christians, and he's against people that are supporting terrorism. So I know he knows what's going on in South Africa, even though someone like Lana Marks tried to sugarcoat it and call it the Rainbow Nation, and that there's nothing wrong, and then thinks that Ramaphosa would be great golf buddies with Donald Trump. I don't think Donald Trump is that fooled. I think he knows what's going on, and we just need someone bold to go and sit with him and tell him the truth, and so we can work out a business plan together. Right.
Okay. Now, classy activism, I don't know who classy activism is. Can you tell us a bit about yourself? He says, Mr. Bartlett's welcome to contact me so we can stream about this issue. Email is in my video descriptions. Cheers. Now, let's find out a little bit more about who classy activism is. Okay, so I'm just going through some of the messages on here.
I do ask the people that would like interviews with me, please go to my website, boerextinction.org, including Darby, who's watching right now. Send me a message and tell me about these stories, about your friend being shot and so on, so I can lift him up first and foremost before God and him and his family. and as well as Darby himself. And then secondly, I can use this as the facts of these current facts that what's busy happening at this very moment in 2020, as well as if you want an interview, please. I have a very, very heavy schedule. I am only a one human, but I am dedicated to doing everything possible. So please reach out to me via my website.
Fantastic. What time is it right now there in America?
It is 2:11 or 1:11. I don't know. 1:11. Sorry.
That's in the afternoon.
Yes, in the afternoon.
Okay. Well, it's 5:11 in the morning here, and it would be 9:11 p.m. in South Africa. You've got to love time zones, haven't you? Now,
but I say you're a little bit older, so you normally wake up early, so it's okay for you, right?
I actually set my alarm. I just don't have a life, quite honestly. I mean, I go to bed at about 6 o'clock in the evening, and I'm a single guy, and I set the alarm for 2:30 in the morning when I have a live stream like this, so that when we spoke about an hour before this started, that was 3 o'clock in the morning my time, and we started this live stream at 4 a.m. But 8 p.m. is the perfect time to talk to a largely South African audience, because it's after dinner and they can actually get involved. So that's what we do here.
And it's the Brian Kruiwagen, right? So someone's got to fill that big empty void now that he's gone.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm just going to put a call out again to all those people watching. Firstly, thank you all for being part of the live stream and part of the side chat. Are there any further questions people would like to ask Jason? Okay, now Jaka has just put in Jason Bartlett. Twitter is at Buffalo Bartlett. Is that right? Okay, so
yes,
people can contact you through that too. Ria says, wonder if you ever sleep. I just have a strange strange schedule, I guess you could say. Yeah, it
sounds like it.
All right, guys. Look, I know Jason's got a huge amount of stuff that he has to get into, and it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Jason. And I just endorse what everybody here is saying, and they're saying fantastic work. Probably about 90% of we got about 200 people watching. Probably about 90% of those people are in South Africa, and they are just so excited by your faith and your determination to get out there and have a meeting with Trump. Is there anything you'd like to say to the people who are watching, and specifically, I guess, to those who are in South Africa? Well, what's your message to them?
My message to South Africans in English is just, stand together and stand on the foundations of the Lord, and know that there is hope. There is a time of peace, and that the only peace is under the Lord's wing. So don't be disheartened. Don't get behind the Rugby World Cup or Miss University. Get behind the Word of God and establish yourself on His Word. And then to all the Afrikaans people, mag die Here julle net seën, mag hy julle dra, want ek weet julle is stikkend en ek weet julle harte is gebreek. Maar weet jy wat, nee, ons dien in 'n almagtige Here en 'n almagtige God. Hy sal by julle staan, hy staan by sy woord en sy beloftes. Nou is dit ons kans om by hom te staan en sê, Here, ons is bietjie verdwaal in ons lewe, maar weet jy wat, ons staan vas op u woord en ons staan vas op u beloftes en ons gaan jou woord dra en ons gaan opstaan as een nasie onder God en ons gaan voortgaan en mag die Here julle net dra en saam julle wees tussen die tye in Suid-Afrika. And that's what I've got to say for my English and my Afrikaans family and friends out there.
Fantastic. Now, you're anticipating getting to Washington in late February, aren't you?
Yes, I am, hopefully by the end of February, but if it takes me longer because I've got to do countless interviews, then so be it, because spreading the word is more important than setting a record. I'm here to get there as quick as I can to save as many lives as I can, but I'm also here as my body is the temple of God, and I need to protect it and look after it as well and honor it, and I also need to spread the word, and that's why I'm dedicating myself to speak tirelessly and endlessly for my people and my nation of South Africa.
Fantastic. Now, am I able to copy the videos that you put up on your new YouTube channel and place them onto my YouTube channel? Because I'd like to keep in touch with where you're at and all that sort of stuff. Do you have a problem with that?
No, that's most certainly, as long as I can also please copy yours and put it on my YouTube channel and just spread the word as much as possible, because this is bigger than me and anything that I can do. This is, this is hopefully just the word of God just being spread out
Sure.
there. So you can happily do that, my friend. Yes, please. And thank you so much for the Loving Life channel and spreading the heartfelt feelings of South Africa and spreading hope and joy.
Well, I can assure you that you're most welcome to use any of my videos on your channel or promote them anywhere you want on Facebook or whatever. I have absolutely no problem with that, because the more people who spread the message out there, the better for all of us.
Exactly. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time, and I just appreciate every single person, Afrikaans and English, in our Boer nation in South Africa. My thoughts and my prayers are with you. And please keep on lifting me up in your prayers. Keep my legs in your prayers, my heart in your prayers, and my mind in your prayers as well, because the biggest challenge is your mind in a long endeavor like this.
Absolutely, yeah. You must hit times where you just think, why the heck am I doing this?
I don't hit times like that, but I do hit times where my body just wants to give up and I just have to push through. Like physically, just my one foot doesn't want to go in front of the other. And I haven't even hit the cold and the mountains yet. I'm going to be crossing the Appalachian Mountains in the near future. That's when the buffalo is really going to have to go ahead and just put his head down and just bury his head in the Word of God and just go forward and march on for our nation.
Right. Now, this is a question that Jarko's asked. He says, what is Jason's YouTube channel's name? Now, what I'd like you to do, Jason, is once you've got your YouTube channel up, if you just send me an email, because we're in email contact, and I'll actually promote that for you on my channel so people know how to contact you and watch your videos directly. And on that same theme, once you get to Washington, and regardless of what happens, I would love to have another live stream with you, because we can then talk about your journey, we can talk about what happened in Washington, and we can put that all on the record on the Loving Life channel.
No, most certainly, I will happily do that, and anytime. I appreciate everyone helping spread the word.
Fantastic. All right, I just want to say to everybody who's watched the live stream, thank you so much for being part of it. To my moderators, I'm not going to name you because there's several here. I can see you all. Thank you so much for your work and your support and making sure that people don't get out of control on the side chat. And of course, I just want to say to Jason, you're an inspiration, and we will follow you all the way up to Washington, D.C. We will promote your cause. We're all on the same page, and look, please take care. You are in God's light, and I can assure you that there are going to be a lot of people on this channel who will be praying for you and the work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate that. Thank you very, very much.
Okay, now I've got one question here from Darby. He says, "Sir, ask Jason if there are potholes there like in the Free State on the roads."
No, my friend, there's no potholes. You see them every now and then, but in like old deserted roads. But no, I've been walking on a big type of highway, and there's no potholes. People, no, they drive properly, and it's good. It's good. There's no taxis who are driving drunk with 30 people in a 18-seater. And there's a lot of safety on the roads. Of course, there's accidents, but there's a lot of safety. And what's awesome is that the police system over here supports me so well. They actually often stop and just give me words of encouragement, and just honk their horns. It's really incredible.
Fantastic. Just on that point, do you have like a T-shirt or several T-shirts that you wear that like have a message on them as you walk?
Not yet. We are currently in small town Texas, so there's not many places. But as I say, I just did this out of faith, and I had no plan. And slowly, like you can see, I had a lovely person create and paint this beautiful sign behind me. Yeah. And we are raw Christians to the core, and we are doing our best with the funds that we get. So that's why I ask for those donations to keep on coming in, because then I can create shirts, and I can create a nice big banner, and I can do a lot more with that, because everything that you guys donate will be used for those good purposes and spreading the word and stopping the genocide in South Africa.
Fantastic. Well, look, I know you've got a busy schedule, and I really appreciate the time that you've spent. We've been talking for close to 90 minutes, and time flies when you're having fun. We've got about we've had up to about 200 people watching at any time, so that's a nice group of people. I will be leaving this video up on my channel, so you're most welcome to point people towards it, or if you want, you can copy it and put it onto your YouTube channel. That's up to you. But let's work together on this, because we're both on exactly the same page.
No, most certainly. And my next one of my next stories will be with Willem Petzer on his YouTube channel, and then as well as Steve Hofmeyer has also reached out to me just to give me encouragement and is helping me a lot as well. So thank you to them too. And yeah, man, bless all of you in South Africa, and bless all the Americans and Australians and all the people watching this, and bless you too.
Thank you very much. And look, just a quick word with you about Steve Hofmeyer. I've been trying to get Steve Hofmeyer on a live stream on my channel for literally months, and he's the most elusive man I know. You know, I've actually got emails from him, but we're in email contact. He says, yeah, we'll do it, and then it just goes quiet. So if you wouldn't mind, when you're actually in contact with Steve, saying, hey, don't you owe Loving Life a live stream?
I will. On that note as well, there's a gentleman here from Outlaw Radio. His name is Billy. You should really have a live stream with him as well. He's helping so much with the cause for our people as well. He's reached out to me countless times. We've become very good friends, and he's just opened so many doors for us. So he's just such an advocate for our cause as well. And it's Billy from Outlaw Radio.
Okay, could you ask him to email me, and we'll try and set something up. That'll be fantastic. Okay. All right, Jason, look, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I can tell you everybody in the side chat are just inspired by what you're doing. So keep up the fantastic work, and know that there are a lot of people praying for you. To all those who've, this is the second time I'm saying this, but I get a bit carried away and distracted. To all those who've been following the live stream, thank you for being part of it. I'm going to wrap up now. I think everybody's asked the questions they need to, and I look forward in a few weeks' time, when you're in Washington, to having another live stream with you where we can actually talk about the journey, things that have happened, especially over the Appalachian Mountains. Darby says here, don't drink too much moonshine when you're going over the Appalachian Mountains, or you're not going to make it.
No, not at all.
All right.
Thanks for support as well. I look forward to your message, Darby. Thank you very much. And ons bio South Africa, ne? Let's stand up and nation under God. Let's do this.
Fantastic. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream. Thank you so much for all being here. And once again, Jason, I look forward to following your journey, and we will certainly publicize it where we can.
All in a day's walk. Thank you very much, sir. I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.